And when stars are in light that we burn, we would know.
Hi everyone! This year has been an amazing ride, and as much as we are all relieved 2020 is coming to an end, we challenged our team to share some headline achievements since the creation of WHTT, Women in Hospitality and Travel Tech, in 60 seconds. So here we go!
We grew into a community of over 5,500 members from 54 different countries.
We grew up to a team of 19 members, all of them with different backgrounds, experience and expertise.
We opened chapters in Barcelona, London, Paris, Prague, Berlin, Singapore, Italy and Brazil.
We are about to open California, Hamburg and new locations coming soon.
Apart from the many workshops, community meet and greets and VR meetings.
We had over 300 people signing up to our e-learning program, and we produced over 90 WHTT live educational broadcasts.
Masterclass, role models, Women WHTT Weekly, Diversity and Inclusion Talks, Discover Hospitality, Mondays in Spanish, and Revenue Hacks.
Which ranked amongst the top 10 podcasts in the hospitality space.
We've reached over 200,000 views on all our channels.
We created more than 50 mentoring pairings. This enabled over 40 organisations within the travel space to access diverse talent through our WHTT Career Connector.
Launched Match and Mentor program to help the travel ecosystem's recovery.
We impacted the lives of over 1 million people within the travel space.
Hi, we continue empowering women and underrepresented groups through education, mentorship, career development and sharing through the 2020 D&I talks to what it truly means to build diverse and inclusive cultures into your DNA.
To really make sure they get what they want in their career.
It's time to level up.
Join us and watch out for our new platform and branding in January 2021.
Happy holidays for everyone.
Happy holidays!
Feliz Navidad! Merry Christmas from Barcelona chapter.
Happy holidays!
Happy holidays!
Happy holidays!
Happy holidays!
Happy holidays!
Happy holidays!
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays!
Hello, welcome to our last revenue hacks of 2020. So today it's the three of us. Maybe we can do a tiny introduction before we kick off, because you watching us are going to be the one sitting next to us today and live. We're going to reply to your questions or discuss about any topic you want to talk about. So we can't wait to have you in. The link is going to show at the bottom of the screen. So you can go into the waiting room, put your question in over there, and we'll put you live with us. Khristina, you want to present yourself?
It's Khristina Miss today. Hey everyone, Khristina, Group Revenue Manager at JMK Group and also a travel and hospitality consultant sitting in Dublin.
I'm Susanne Williams. I'm the Commercial Director here in Cheltenham for Journey. We are a tech and marketing agency.
Cool. And B, the founder of My.O.C consulting company, specialized in optimization of revenue. Great. So what happened in 2020? What do we need to what will we remember? What have we learned? I think there's been plenty of topics we discussed this year, but what are for you like the key ones? Like what do we need to remember and to work on probably doing better for 2021? Any thoughts?
Keep washing your hands.
Stacey.
That's exactly what everyone says. I think for sure the one thing we've learned is that the silos that we've always been talking about within the industry, you know, departments not speaking to each other, people not speaking to each other, really became a focal point in 2020, because some people were furloughed, some people were let go, some people were made redundant, other people took on roles that they never really kind of understood. And then that's when the domino effect started to happen. Everyone just started trickling, and you could feel the effect across the business. So definitely better communication 2021. We all need to understand what each person's department plays in regards to the hotel's overall revenue, and look forward on how we can help each other as a team to learn and grow and drive that revenue more.
Yeah, I agree with you, Khristina. And actually, I think that people's competencies and what they do in their day-to-day job, I think that there's a desire now to increase those and really get from out behind the desk and learn about the business. And I think they'll see that going into 2021, just about what people want to be doing in the future, how they want to develop and broadening their skill set. I think that's, for me, a key takeaway, really.
Yeah, so making sure that we really break these silos and we kind of widen the knowledge in hospitality, like stop thinking I'm just a revenue manager or I'm just sales, but it's like, how do we bring this commercial team and this hotel team together to make sure that we work better together. Great. Anybody from the audience actually wants to join and discuss that, share their opinions on how did they feel, so being at home and away from the desk, far away from the colleagues. I think that can be quite interesting to get your thoughts. Feel free to join whenever. Then any other thoughts on so break the silos? We talked about it a lot. Any other thing? For me, I guess there's been a lot to discuss about segmentation and like kind of disrupt the status quo that we had and try to look for different type of revenue streams.
Yeah, I think actually maybe less about segmentation. I think we can cover that. But for me, really looking at the change in audience behaviours and what's driving that, from a reduction in reliance to OTAs, the personalisation of travel, and also just the whole generation clean, you know, whether that's something that we'll see going, I think we will see it going forward in 2020, but it's about how hotels capitalise on that. It's a slightly broader, more marketing umbrella, I guess, but how do we translate that into revenue for our hotels? You know, generation clean, I think, is a big one. And then the second is, do you guys think that we're going to continue to see a reduction in OTA reliance for independent properties? It's like,
not so sure, actually.
Yeah. I don't like the word OTA. I think a lot of people have burnt down bridges, but unfortunately, I think there's some key players within that sphere that hotels have relied on for so long that in order to break that chain in their own minds, they'll need to get a better book direct campaign and better technology behind it, which again is something that we've seen throughout the whole 2020, is that people really realized they didn't invest well in all these different things.
So just picking up on your amazing guest, B, which when Harry came onto the show and he was talking about the data sets and how you, in the future, we might have to be working with reduced data sets. Now, to me, that spells trouble for the OTAs and Google's relationship in terms of, you know, the ad spends that the OTAs put towards Google. You know, they've protected that, but actually in the future, we're going to see Google being more dominant in the travel space. Does that then mean that from our Book Direct campaigns, that's going to have an effect on the data sets that we're working with? So I think that these for me have been really interesting discussions this year, just about how that's actually going to evolve.
Yeah, I think the Google topic is key because it's going to be the future. So we need to make sure that everybody understands how it works, and like everybody should be on Meta. It's crazy how when you Google hotels, like so many people are still not there in this space, whereas it represents a massive amount of potential business. But I guess for me, at least, I think this year has also made us be a bit more tolerant towards OTAs, because we realize that they are actually really strong and they can also help us drive business quickly and turn around business more quickly than we can as an independent hotel. So we need to find the right balance basically between these distribution channel. Not forget about the direct, but not blame them, because we can really play with them and they can really bring a lot, I think. So.
Absolutely. And then I know that I think Julie's watching from Crichton. Julie, do join us in the studio if you're here, because we want to talk a little bit about tech and just about the personalisation of the independent traveller's journey and whether that is going to have an impact on, one, your direct campaigns, and then two, your third party reliance. So, and then how that works when you get through to the experience delivery, which I know that we wanted to touch on too.
Yeah. I think we have Thomas Finn actually in the studio, so maybe we can bring him in, and so we can come back and discuss. Hey, Tom, how are you?
Hello. Hello, 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 hello.
So, Tom, you were with us a few months ago, actually. Yeah. How has it been? How is the market going? And do you see a change in the mentality a little bit?
Yeah. First off, thanks for having me. Already conversations are going on. Anybody that's sort of kept track of what we've been doing will see that we have been recruiting throughout the pandemic. So it hasn't exactly stopped. It's just certainly slowed down. But conversations are already happening to prep for the start of next year. Don't get me wrong, things will still seem very slow in the sort of the start of the year, sort of January. But as soon as we get into sort of mid-February, late February time, we are going to start seeing activity. I know from myself anyway, and talking to my clients, we're going to certainly see some roles coming through. B, of course, you're going to be at a meeting that I'm holding on the 3rd of February, which is actually going to bring in 26 commercial leaders now, all into one room, socially distanced, of course. But yeah, so one of the biggest points is all going to be around recruitment, employability, how it's going to work, what we're going to need, and what the types of roles are. And trust me, I'm going to have a thing or two to say about the types of people that we need to be employing.
Great, can't wait.
Well, actually, now that you've said it, Tom, you know, we've seen the industry change rapidly. Do you think we've touched on this so many times in the past, do you think revenue managers are now more commercial managers, and that's exactly what people should be looking for in the future? Or what are your thoughts in regards to that combination of revenue and sales role?
Yeah, commercial manager through and through. I think the age, and again, I've said this on a couple of occasions, and forgive me for the terminology, but I think the age of the revenue manager per se, or the job title in itself, will inevitably become redundant, because the scope of the role, the complexity of the role, as we all know, we've talked about it on numerous occasions, but it's massively changed to what it was. And 2021, I mean, now let's be honest, the last 6 to 8 months, we've seen how the revenue manager role has had to change, how it's had to consolidate, but also get involved in all these different areas of the business. Arguably, it should have been happening a long time ago, but you know, our industry is sluggish in the way it does things. But 2021 will see it being a necessity. It just is what it is, and that's what I've been talking about in terms of the workshops that I've been doing, but also people that I've been talking to, and you guys I know are quite passionate about this point. Is revenue manager, or the revenue manager term, is so much more. It has to be so much more going forward than it has ever been.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, indeed, and actually, I mean, for the people watching us, if you tune to Tom's LinkedIn, you'll see there's plenty of videos that are quite interesting, where leaders are talking about this topic in much more detail that we'll have time to do today. But feel free to follow him. Cool, thanks, Tom, for that.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tom. Happy Christmas.
So let's welcome Julie, actually, from Crichton.
So excited! Yay! Julie's on camera, finally.
I'm so excited, and actually I'm going to see a customer in real life today, and I have my dress on.
Good timing.
I know, a real life customer in their hotel. I'm like beyond myself.
So Julie, we've obviously tech's been such a massive part of what we've talked about this year, and that is the space that you occupy. So what do you see? What's been the highlights for your year, and what do you see going forward?
Well, I think the biggest change I've noticed is that contactless and what that means for the guest journey is now being discussed at the highest levels. So all of a sudden, boards have realised that the need for technology, although it feels like it was driven by COVID, actually was there already, and that they can change how they deal with guest requirement and offer them real choice. So for us, what we saw was complete and utter panic in how they could quickly implement a contactless guest journey, but also, of course, very little money to invest. So how do they do it in a cost-effective fashion, and actually how do they embed it into their operations and all the stuff that we work with hotels? Really, we really go deep on how to make sure that you get value from what you do. So that, I think that's been great. The next thing that we're finding really interesting is, although it's there for guests, and guests, I mean, the change in guest usage, because hotels are embracing it, is enormous. But actually the staff are loving it, because it's just all that little bits of information around about activities and menus and all that sort of stuff is now on their phone, really easy to access. And it's a sort of side benefit that we hadn't really considered. But a lot of the feedback from our operators is that staff really like it too. So I think we've seen acceptance that is coming, and my total goal for the next couple of years is just to continue to harass the standing systems around about APIs, because honestly, so like a PMS is a PMS, right? But every integration we've done, there's some blinking quirk somewhere that causes carnage. Hoteliers just do not need this crap, excuse my French. So I'm like on a total mission that realistically these systems need to talk to each other. The guest journey should be allowed to be bespoke, but it's ultimately guest data, and then where you take that guest data to make it a better guest experience.
Do you think COVID has shaken up the kind of dinosaurs and helped going faster in tech to be developed?
Well, I think the great thing is there's an understanding that acceleration in the older generation has just happened. Everybody's now on Zoom to their grandkids and they're comfortable with smart devices. So that used to be the biggest argument I got, along with, well, how do we still provide hospitality if people aren't coming to reception? To which I generally try not to shriek, because no guest arrives at a hotel desperate to stand in a queue and speak to a receptionist. They want to get into the room and start enjoying their stay. And if we can break down these barriers, it means that the time that staff spend with guests is hospitality, not admin. So yeah, I get right on my high horse about that sort of stuff. I mean, honestly, B, I wouldn't call them a dinosaur, because I think...
No, it was harsh, okay.
Well, I think that I would be scared. But I think there's an acceptance that technology can sit at the heart of the guest experience and not wipe out hospitality.
Absolutely. I think the point about the barrier and reception, I mean, that is actually what it is. And I'm wondering if there's opportunities there for reception teams across hotels to start to think about how they broaden their role, and whether that merges in with some of that commerciality that hotels expect to see. Because actually the delivery of food and beverage and the experience and the personalisation all comes from the full experience, not just that desk, or not every hotel has a desk now, but actually, it's a metaphorical barrier as well, isn't it? So
I think there's just people's time. People don't have time to queue. They don't like to queue. Imagine now if you went back to an airline and they said, so you have to go and queue to get your boarding pass, and you have to go. You'd go mad. That's what's going to happen in hospitality. It's an unnecessary process that we built because of payment. That's it. We need to capture their card, so we make it all about hospitality, and it's not. So that's been kind of my soapbox this year, and mostly I've enjoyed it, and sometimes I've been tearing my hair out.
I think that sums up 2020 perfectly, doesn't it?
Well, listen, you guys have been awesome. Honestly, Wednesday lunchtimes, you've smashed it out of the park. I've completely enjoyed watching you. Been brilliant.
Thanks, Julie. And thanks for joining today also. It's great to have you on the screen.
Bye.
Cool.
Thanks, Julie.
It's so nice to see people that watch the show regularly kind of jumping on. It's lovely to have them part of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. We have Beatrice, actually, that is coming up. Beatrice Kozani, hello.
Hi, ladies. How are you?
Good to see you. So tell us, how was 2020?
Okay, has been a very challenging year. Without work, I don't work since March, but anyway, I had a great opportunity to improve soft skills, to meet you, to meet the WHTT. So for me, it's a giant opportunity. And of course, I had the possibility to realize much more what I wish to do next year, and also stay at home with the family. So to be positive, because we have always to be positive and think positive, because otherwise could be extremely hard to arrive on the 31st of December. But anyway, we should talk about the next year, because I really wish that it can bring us much more technology. The tech, we need the tech in hospitality, especially for check-in, check-out, and maybe also to help us to improve our challenge to welcoming guests. But I also hope that we can have the humanity skills. We can bring our humanity skills as well, even if we will dress a mask or whatever at the front desk.
Yeah, it's all about keeping the experience, right? Making sure that we keep hospitality as hospitality and not forget about why we were doing this job.
Exactly, because my fear is that guests could feel like at an hospital when you see a concierge with a mask, with social distances. Maybe guests can't feel so welcoming, and it's what I wish to bring in 2021. More awareness, much more opportunity to feel our guests welcoming, using emphasis and all our skills, especially here in Italy, to give them the opportunity to have a wow stay and a memorable stay, because they need a memorable stay.
Absolutely.
I totally agree with you, Beam. We've seen hotels actually open that haven't been able to give that 100% hospitality feeling, even though we've been following, the social distance rules and wearing masks. I think for the first few weeks after lockdown, when hotels reopened, people just found that whole element a little bit strange. It wasn't normal for them to walk into a hotel, to have to stand in a particular place, to take a pen, use said pen if they were using it, and then sanitize it. But I do want to go back to the start, because the first thing you said was that you trained pretty much the whole way through. And that's what I love to hear. And I know the girls love to hear that, because that's something that we have been pushing the whole way through lockdown, is train yourself on soft skills. Do sales and marketing courses. There's lots of them out there. There's Google Analytical courses. The more you do to educate yourself, the better prepared you will be for the future, not just looking for a job, but also in a role itself, or being able to move from a role to another. So it's great to hear that you took the time out and you didn't sit down and you didn't weep and wallow. You learned and you kept going. So well done to you.
Exactly. Never sit down. We should be open to the change and improve every time, and smile. We need to smile with our eyes when we are at the hotel.
I'm starting to get a pro putting on eyeliner like Susanne. Susanne always has this amazing eyeliner, because I spend 90% of my day in a mask now. It's my eyes telling the story.
Exactly, yes. That is the mood.
Good. Well, thank you very much for joining and sharing that, Beatrice. That was nice. And I think we definitely need to keep that in mind, like train ourselves, be positive about the future, and make sure that we keep hospitality and remember why we're doing hospitality, actually.
Exactly, yes. So now, happy Christmas to everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
So I think we have Marjorie, actually, that is coming up. Hello.
Marjorie, I'm ready for you.
Yes, I'm a long way away from the Lion's Tea, I'm afraid.
I'd like to say I'll post some to you, but I've already had problems with the post office already since last week. So there's only so much on Post can take. Marjorie, how did you find 2020?
I'm based in Stockholm in Sweden, in a boutique hotel here, the Sparrow Hotel, and I found 2020 very, very difficult at first. Well, I'm starting at March when COVID hit, and not starting at January, because it feels like 2020 began when COVID began. That was when we kind of really felt that Sweden and Stockholm were in a bit of a bubble compared to the rest of the world. So we have been open. We haven't had any sort of lockdowns since the beginning of COVID, which has been it's been tough for us, but it's also we've been very grateful because we have had the opportunity to adapt when we can. At least we haven't had the restriction from the government to fully close the hotel. Instead, we thought, okay, what can we do? How can we be open, still be responsible, and still give our guests that personal service? And it's also, when you were talking there about guests in Ireland, how they're reacting now coming out of lockdown, because it's always been open here in Sweden, we don't have masks here at the hotel, but I know there are other hotels that do use masks, and people are completely kind of used to it now. It's not something that is a standard in Stockholm, but people are used to seeing people in masks now. I don't think it takes away from the hospitality at all. I think people are quite used to it. But again, it's people, so we're all individuals, and there's no way that you can kind of generalize a whole population or even the whole world when you open up to the international market again. So 2020 has definitely been a learning curve, and I've also personally spent the time just to listen as much as possible with things like revenue hacks as well, and taking online courses and just learning, putting the ear to the ground and listening and seeing what's happening in the world, and how our guests are going to react, and to kind of help to look into our crystal ball for 2021.
Great. Any plans actually, especially like on changing the way the strategy of the hotel is working currently for 2021 to attract those new international guests? Any things that you've put in place that probably a year ago you were not even thinking about?
Still very much for Q1 would be the domestic market. So we're quite a new property. We only opened in 2019.
Okay.
So it's still very much looking at your database, looking at your loyal guests, those few that we managed to get. We're very grateful for, and looking at your domestic market and trying to attract your guests to come back to the hotel rather than going after the international market when we don't know when that's going to come back at the moment. So again, kind of brand silence is not an option. You can't be completely silent to the international market at the moment, but you can you have to still be aware that you can't be tone deaf at the moment, and encourage people to be traveling in a time like this.
I love how you actually just commented on brand silence, because we've seen that happen the whole way through lockdown. That's something that Susanne just kept pushing everyone to be, and she's still doing it, as you can see. But there has been so many hotels that shut themselves out, and I spoke to Kat MacLeod from Hotel Res about this as well during the week. Hotels shut themselves down, didn't think of anything, didn't put up a message, and that was their visibility gone. And then they were complaining because all the other hotels that stayed open for essential workers during lockdown had that upper hand on visibility, but also on the social media side. If you weren't posting, even, we're cleaning in the background or some funny jokes in the background during lockdown, you lost them clients, you lost the people, because it just looks like radio silence.
I think it's really important to keep your always on messaging across digital and social always on. They should not be switched off, and that includes your paid media. I don't think we should turn off your paid media from a brand perspective is not the right way forward at all. Yes, you can tweak and adjust your tactical promotional messages, but sort out your brand messaging, because it's going to set you in good stead going into 2021 for sure.
Yeah, it's one of the key points. I think it was to be flexible and being able to adjust ourselves, so not shut down things typically in terms of marketing or ads, but like play with it and use it to our advantage to make sure that we talk to the guests or to an audience in a different way. And some brands have been really good with that, and unfortunately some, I guess, less. But we've seen all the biggest CEOs, for example, talking. That's been wow, because when you have Arne Sorensen like talking and explaining what's going on in his hotels, you're like, well, that's great, that's good leadership. And when you see like, I don't know, a small hotel in the middle of the countryside also explaining like, look, this is the way our cleaners are cleaning the room, I think that's been also quite helpful. So at each level, it's been quite important, and it will be important to continue doing that. Yeah. Great. Thanks a lot for joining, Marjorie.
Great. Yeah. Thanks very much, guys, and wish
and
you
good luck for 2021 then.
We'll see you in the new year, Marjorie. Thank you.
Bye. Bye.
Good.
I think we chat about I've got a thing about digital transformation at the moment and the whole Internet of Things piece that just, you can feel it coming down the line, but I'm also a bit scared of it, where, you walk in and your lights come on, the fire goes on, your fridge is hooked up, your car, what's that going to look like by the end of 2021?
Well, funny enough, so many people were giving out because Google went down on Monday. Remember, it was at Monday? It was Monday, yeah. So Google went down on Monday. My husband works for a big tech company, and their accounts are all ran by Gmail. And I've seen so many funny memes and so many funny stories online about how people couldn't turn on and off the lights, or, everything was switched off because all the Wi-Fi. I was just like, oh my God, that is so true. And we think, like, I'm going to be honest, I actually think turning on a light with a switch is barbaric sometimes and Jurassic, because I just shout at my Google and I have to put a manly voice on because for some reason it doesn't recognize my voice. But that's the problem we face as well. It's like, the face recognition from your iPhone or your fingerprint. If you're wearing makeup or you burn your finger, you can't do it. So how do we move forward when you're facing these type of slight technical issues as well at the same time? I think one of the interesting things Judy did mention, though, was the fact that we've seen older generations adapt to technology. A friend of mine, her granny is 94 and she joined Instagram during lockdown. Her granny does TikTok videos, okay? So if people in that generation can do it, then why can't hoteliers? What is it that we have? Adding in technology and removing old systems is not causing, for you to lose that lack of guest interaction. It's only able to help it a lot more. You've got an extra touch point to the guest that goes straight to their phone rather than waiting for the guest to pick up that phone and call you.
Well, the thing is that not all of this sexy tech is useful, is it?
No, and that's
really to walk past your light switch and just to turn it on. I agree with Nick. Nick, jump on and get us going on this subject, because actually, it's not all useful, and sometimes there is for sure some amazing innovative tech out there, absolutely, but not all of it is. And I think that distinguishing between what's useful from a guest experience perspective and what's actually just sexy tech that we've talked about, the distinction is not always that clear.
I agree with you, Susanne. I think we really need to differentiate and not go to all the different technologies, but make sure that as a hotel, as a brand, you define what's my unique selling point, what do I want people to remember me for. And you cannot do everything. Like, if I go to a guest house, it's because I want to interact with people, actually. If I go to a hotel on business trip, maybe I don't, but you want different experiences. And I think one of the guests was mentioning it like 2 weeks ago. It's maybe sometimes it's better to leave a note on the bed, even if it's old fashioned. That's maybe like the way your hotel reacts and the way your hotel should do things, instead of sending a pre-stay email, like a confirmation, a pre-stay 5 days before, a pre-stay on the day, welcome to the hotel, hey, you're here now, have you tried the restaurant? And then, hey, bye-bye. Like, this is awful. So it's just like how to find the right balance and define what guest journey do you want. And that's really, for me at least, it's been an eye-opener this year, like having time to really step back and look, okay, how does it look actually if you're a real client and not a hotelier like us and trying to put things in place?
I think, but there's a real charm, isn't there, in hospitality? Like you said, going to the guest house, you want to interact with people. Old-fashioned hospitality still has a place, and it's that charm of the restaurant manager that knows your drink and can welcome you. You're not going to get that replaced by any tech system. No. Don't get me wrong, we're all very techy, we love our tech, but I think there's a balance for sure, like you said. Totally agree.
Yep. Oh, Khristina, you're on mute.
There we go. Wouldn't have been a year if we didn't say that, wouldn't it? I have to agree with that, but Marjorie also did say that, the tech can be expensive. It can, but the problem that you're facing is that sometimes a lot of the sexy tech is the most expensive because it doesn't synchronize with your systems already. So I think you need to either look at a PMS upgrade properly and assess what the needs of your business is, like we discussed in the last few weeks, and then make a proper decision based on that, because you can't buy a million systems and try and integrate them all in together when there's no real API connection. And that's something that a lot of the guys that are actually creating all these brand new PMSs are really, really working to do, really hard to do, is to integrate, and there's some cool systems coming out in the future that will help you integrate the building blocks that you already have. We hope.
Yeah. And I think it's stop putting actually the PMS in the center of everything. Like put the guest in the center and make sure that you build stuff around that. That's really quite key. And I mean, last week we discussed with the techie guys also a lot about that, integrations, etc. And that's what matters. I think that's the main road to take for 2021 in order to succeed. Get those occupancy back up and those clients back up. To the hotel.
So I've got just probably one last question. Is that are you missing the Christmas party this year?
Oh God, yes.
Is anyone missing the Christmas party?
So I never liked the Christmas parties ever in the past. 100% never liked Christmas parties. Okay, this year I missed the Christmas party. I'm going to say it. And I would go to them. I would never drink at them. I would drive. I would be the designated driver. I would be the organizer. I'd make sure everyone has great fun. Yeah, no, this year I'm really missing it.
Yeah, well, that's why business is going to come back. People will want to interact again. We need to make sure that, this will happen. I mean, I've heard nobody saying that they're missing seeing some colleagues from time to time, even if it can be annoying. Well, still, you want to have a chit chat with someone else than people being at home.
Well, I missed the ugly jumper part of Christmas. See people in their ugly jumpers. I've really missed that, because that's something that if you were in a hotel, you just see so many people come in and out over the weekend, especially on busy weekends, dying to see what they're wearing. Like you see people dressed up as Santa, dressed up as elves, and you miss the jumpers. So yeah, that part I do miss.
Good. Well, we're going to miss you for a few weeks, guys, but we'll be back in the new year. So please feel free to still interact if there is anything that you want to share with us, either on the comments or contact us directly, that we can help. And well, for me, thank you, ladies, for this year. It's been amazing working, doing that with you and sharing all these experiences. So thank you.
Oh, it's been super cool getting to know everyone this year. And thanks to Rita for bringing us all together. Yeah. Like I said, it's really hard to say no to her, and we've come a full circle since the start. And I think we've had some really cool people interact with us as well, like Avalon. Avalon couldn't join us today, but hey, thank you so much for your heartfelt message. It was really, really nice. And Sylvia as well. These are people that, again, work in the industry who are fierce and who just don't seem to want to give up and won't give up. And that's what we need in the industry, is for everyone to come together and actually not give up. And that's what 2021 is all about. Being fierce, being like Susanne, be fierce.
It's just a myth. It's just a myth. I'm not as fierce as everyone thinks.
Doubt that. The eye roll say it all.
We still want to be at your level at some point. Right. Thank you very much for joining. Thanks for all the messages, for you watching us, and thanks for following us in the last, God, I don't even know how many weeks, but we'll be back next year anyway. So just stay tuned on WHTT, and Merry Christmas to all. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hi everyone! This year has been an amazing ride, and as much as we are all relieved 2020 is coming to an end, we challenged our team to share some headline achievements since the creation of WHTT, Women in Hospitality and Travel Tech, in 60 seconds. So here we go!
We grew into a community of over 5,500 members from 54 different countries.
We grew up to a team of 19 members, all of them with different backgrounds, experience and expertise.
We opened chapters in Barcelona, London, Paris, Prague, Berlin, Singapore, Italy and Brazil.
We are about to open California, Hamburg and new locations coming soon.
Apart from the many workshops, community meet and greets, and VR meetings.
We had over 300 people signing up to our e-learning program, and we produced over 90 WHTT live educational broadcasts.
Masterclass, role models, Women WHTT Weekly, Diversity and Inclusion Talks, Discover Hospitality, Mondays in Spanish, and Revenue Hacks.
Which ranked amongst the top 10 podcasts in hospitality space.
We've reached over 200,000 views on all our channels.
We created more than 50 mentoring pairings. This enabled over 40 organisations within the travel space to access diverse talent through our WHTT Career Connector.
Launched Match and Mentor program to help the travel ecosystem's recovery.
We impacted the lives of over 1 million people within the travel space.
Hi, we continue empowering women and underrepresented groups through education, mentorship, career development and sharing through the 2020 D&I talks to what it truly means to build diverse and inclusive cultures into your DNA.
To really make sure they get what they want in their career.
It's time to level up.
Join us and watch out for our new platform and branding in January 2021.
Happy holidays for everyone.
Happy holidays!
Feliz Navidad! Merry Christmas from Barcelona chapter.
Happy holidays!
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 Happy holidays!